What's up guys, Lon here from Android Authority, and I've spent roughly a week, if not more, with the HTC U11, and while that may be enough time to do a full review, I've actually been using a Taiwanese version of the U11, so it's not optimized for US networks, and until we get a US version of the U11, which should be pretty shortly, we're going to hold off on the full review, just to make sure things like battery life and network performance are as accurate as possible. But because I've been using the U11 for quite some time now, I can still talk about what it's like to use the U11 as a daily driver and share with you guys my initial thoughts and first impressions. So because this is just a quick first impressions, I'm not going to talk about specs or go into full detail about every aspect of the phone. We're going to save that for the full review. And instead, I'm just going to talk about a few things that have stood out to me and what I like and don't like about the U11 so far. First, let's talk about how this phone looks and feels. It carries over a similar design that we initially saw on the U Ultra. And even though it's similar to the U Ultra, the design is much more refined on the U11. It doesn't have a large camera bump like the U Ultra did, and it has a smaller 5.5-inch screen, so it's much easier to use in one hand. The edges of both the front and back glass curve down to meet the metal frame, giving it a very seamless feel with no sharp or rough edges. It's very similar to what Samsung has done with the Galaxy S8. It is very comfortable to hold, but because it's made mostly of glass and doesn't have flat sides or chamfered edges to help with the grip, it does feel quite slippery. I love the liquid glass surface, don't get me wrong, it looks amazing, and some of the colors like solar red will shift and change colors depending on the angle and how the light hits it. It's a really cool effect, but the mirror-like finish shows and attracts fingerprints like crazy, and HTC seems to be pretty aware of this considering they've included a clear case inside of the box to not only protect the U11, but also keep away the fingerprints. One thing that you will not find on the U11 is a headphone jack, and HTC is pretty firm on sticking with this decision, so I wouldn't expect them to bring it back anytime soon. The biggest reason why is because HTC feels they can deliver a better audio experience through the USB Type-C port, and I have to admit, audio sounds incredible on the U11. The included Usonic earbuds not only sound really good, but they also feature active noise cancellation, which works extremely well for blocking out exterior noise. They're definitely above and beyond the typical pair of earbuds that you're used to getting with your smartphone. This time around, HTC has also included a 3.5mm jack to USB Type-C adapter with the U11, which they didn't do with the U Ultra. This means you can still use your favorite pair of over-the-ear cans, and while my Audio-Technica M50Xs aren't exactly the highest impedance headphones in the world, the U11 drives these headphones with significantly louder and fuller sound in comparison to the Galaxy S8 that I was using prior. The biggest standout feature on the U11 is the Edge Sense technology. The sides of the U11 are pressure sensitive, and this allows you to physically squeeze the phone to activate a specific function or open an app like the camera or web browser. It does sound weird to squeeze your phone to make it do something, simply because it's not something we usually do with our phones, but I really like this feature. It works well, has a lot of practical uses, and isn't a gimmick like you may initially think it would be. Because this is a Taiwan version of the U11, it's not optimized for US networks, and obviously that's going to impact things like network performance and battery life, but I still wanted to provide you guys my experiences so far with the battery life, even though this is not a US model, and so far it's been surprisingly good. And I say surprisingly because it doesn't have the biggest battery we've ever seen in a smartphone. It's only 3,000 milliamp hours, but it's lasted me comfortably through a full day with a consistent 5 hours of screen on time, which is really impressive. So it has me feeling very optimistic for what battery life is going to be like on a US version. The last thing that has really stood out to me so far is the camera. So you might have heard that the U11 has the highest DxOMark score ever received by a smartphone, and I'm not entirely sure how much I buy into those scores, but the camera has been impressive and I've thoroughly enjoyed using it. I think it's a huge improvement over last year's HTC 10, which by the way wasn't even a bad camera. The photos are packed with detail, excellent color reproduction, and overall good dynamic range, mostly because the camera auto processes everything as HDR, similar to the Pixel. Video is also really great. The built-in OAS makes for some very smooth looking footage without a whole lot of noticeable shakes, jitters, or any sort of warping. My favorite feature about this camera is the new Acoustic Focus feature, which leverages the 4 microphones on the U11 to record 360-degree or 3D audio, and when you zoom in on a subject, the audio would get louder or more amplified. It's a very neat effect and simulates the act of you physically getting closer to a concert stage, a person playing an instrument, or whatever the audio source may be. Overall initial impressions of the U11 are very positive. It's been a very pleasant smartphone experience and offers some really interesting and unique features that really make it stand out, which is exactly what HTC needed, especially if they really want to capture the attention of consumers. Now, I didn't talk about hardware specs or the display, but it does tick all the right boxes in those areas, and we'll go more in depth with that in the full review. HTC has a lot riding on the success of the U11, and so far they're certainly on the right track to delivering a home run hit. But what do you guys think about the U11? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel, which is also down below. Hit that notification bell while you're at it so you don't miss out on future videos. And as always, follow us on social media: Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Google+, all that good stuff we link down below. Check out the website as well, AndroidAuthority.com, your source for all things Android.